everyone, and welcome back to the weird part of YouTube, aka my channel. It is so good to see you. It's been a while since I did this, obviously because there isn't much travel updates, but finally there is one today and it's a great one. So for all those who have been following this channel, I've updated previously as well. Right now going to India is kind of a bit of a hassle. One, you need to already get the Air Suvidha portal set and stuff already, getting the exemption form. You have to test yourself negative in the RT-PCR test, upload it, get that self-approval form as well. Once done, once you have that, you go to the airport, and then when you add the arrivals at the specified airport in India, obviously you could get randomly spot checked, and if you test negative, and if you're from some of the speculated countries, you could obviously self-isolate. So all these restrictions, if and else cases, obviously there are people going in, but it's a lot complicated. However, from February 14th, which is coincidentally Valentine's Day, India has learned to share the love. They have actually cancelled the RT-PCR test for fully vaccinated passengers. This is honestly a great news. Who all are eligible? Honestly, there are about 86 countries, including Australia, New Zealand, United States, UK, lots of other countries, Hong Kong, and all this stuff. So there are about 86 countries who are eligible for this. So if you have an approved vaccinated form or certificate from whichever country you are, all you need to do is you have to upload it to the Air Suvidha portal, get that exemption form, and you should be set, and no need to get yourself a negative COVID test and all that stuff. So however, if you're not vaccinated, obviously you have to get yourself the test, and then the same rules applies as before, where nothing much changes. You just have to get the test 72 hours prior to traveling in, and then uploading it into the portal and get the self-exemption form. So now with the whole vaccination thing, it's honestly really good. Lots of complications have been reduced. So yeah, essentially, where do you get this vaccination certificate? So depending on whichever country you are, you might have gotten a certificate. Like I live in the US, I get myself the CDC card, and because I live in California, I can just download that whole PDF of my with a QR code, where I get when it said the date I got vaccinated, the first dose, second dose, as well as the booster that I got in November. So yeah, depending on whichever country you are, you can use the official form, either the PDF or whichever form, accepted form. You should just be good to go and upload it on the Air Suvidha portal. However, right now, the new changes. This is going to come in from February 14th onwards. So if you are flying in from, let's say, Air India, they already know the rules and they should be pretty good. However, if you are traveling into, say, United or other airlines, they might require you to take an RT-PCR test before boarding in. So do check with your specified airline if it's just destination oriented, if they follow the destination rules, or they have their own rules on top of this. So a lot of these airlines, they don't really allow passengers if they don't have a COVID report already for international flights. So do check that as well as part of the requirements. But for the self-exemption form, it's a lot easier. So about 86 countries. There are 2 countries that are not in the list. One of them is China, and the second one is UAE. So which is a bit surprising that UAE is not included in the list. The other reason is that why UAE, there's a lot of speculation going on. One is that the UAE vaccine is very similar to the Chinese vaccine. So that's a reason, maybe because of trust or anything, they aren't allowing. So if you're traveling in from the UAE, the same rules follows essentially. In the Air Suvidha portal, you have to upload an RT-PCR test, which is of course negative. So apart from this, there are other questions. Like, for example, if you're traveling in via Emirates, or you're traveling in by any flight carrier which transits into the UAE or Dubai or any other of the Emirates, what happens then? Do you have to get yourself another exemption form? So obviously this rule doesn't apply to transit. It just applies to where you're flying in from. So originally your origin arrival and origin destination is what matters the most. So if your origin flight is obviously in the US or any of the 86 countries, you should be pretty much good to go and not essentially care too much about transit. Obviously, if you're transiting for a lot of days, like let's say a week or something like that, then it might make a difference. But if you're just traveling within 48 hours, it should be good to go. Unless you're staying in the UAE and you have another flight with another carrier, then the rules get a little complicated over there. So in any case, do get yourself an RT-PCR test. That'll be my best advice actually, because a lot of airlines, even though India has new rules, they still want the flight people to actually, passengers, why am I saying flight people? I feel like I forgot how to say it. Sorry, passengers to like essentially get yourself an RT-PCR test before boarding in. So definitely check with your airlines what the rules are. But for now, it is pretty straightforward. However, like in the destination, right now there is some random spot checking, like in the sense they would just check you in random if you have tested negative. If you are testing positive, they would self-isolate you in this health facility in India, and you might have to pay them more. So those stuff are still a gray area at the moment, and they have reduced the count from 10% to like 2% and 1%, so on. So again, it's going to be random checking. So if you have tested yourself negative while boarding in the flight, the chances are you're going to test negative as well, hopefully. So you don't need to worry about that. But that's still there as an eminent gray area thing. That's still there in some places. So yeah, that's about it. So yeah, good news for all those traveling in. If you're fully vaccinated, it's a great time. If you aren't vaccinated and you're considering, I think it's a great time to get yourself vaccinated. If you're traveling internationally, it smooths out a lot of things. Obviously, if you're coming back to the country, like for example, US, the rule still applies the same. 24 hours for the COVID test, so that hasn't been lifted off if you're vaccinated or if you're not. Maybe they might take a page from the India travel and they may also apply everywhere, which would be great, honestly. I hate paying for like RT-PCR tests, at least internationally, because the cost is a lot. So yeah, if you are at the airport, it costs a lot. If you're outside, again, it's definitely expensive and it definitely adds up. However, US does accept self-test, but some airlines are like really iffy about it. They don't really accept the self COVID test. Some do, some don't. So yeah, it's again a very gray area. So hopefully you like this video. If you did and you found this useful, give it a like. Do definitely consider subscribing and leave them down in your comments as well if you have any questions. I'll definitely help answering them. And that is all, y'all. So see you later in another video. Share a lot of love. Hopefully if you're traveling to India soon, safe travels, and a lot more coming into this channel. So definitely don't forget to subscribe. See you a lot later. Bye.